Well, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to talk about you as a founder. This is for the founders who have come up with an idea. I know it's like fresh in 2026 or whatever year you're in, you're watching this video, you've got an idea. Typically, when I think about an idea, I want to come up with brainstorm ideas at the beginning of the year for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I get energized and I'll come up with all these ideas. Nevertheless, so I was thinking about this. If I was starting a new idea, how would I do? How should I cover this off? I'm just gonna say this quickly, right? Most solo founders, SaaS founders, don't fail because they lack the skill or effort. They fail because they don't validate the idea. And I often talk about this. I often talk about you got to be really lazy about your idea, meaning that what's the quickest way to go and test your assumptions about an idea before investing time and energy. And so this is what I'm going to cover off, and we're going to use the power of AI to help you navigate that and get to the answers as quick as possible. So this is the framework that I want you to think about. And when I think about framework, think about more of like an operating system, like a solo SaaS minimal viable product VPM validation OS on your operating system to test your idea faster and to get the answers and specifically what you're learning. So and I'm going to cover this with an example. I'm going to go live for it, but essentially, you really need to define your minimal viable. What is the product you think you have? What problem does it solve? What is the promise of the solution? That promise becomes your brand, by the way. And what is the goal of the product? So once you have that crystallized, you're going to start testing some of the assumptions that you believe to be true, and you want to test those. You test it, and often you can use a business model canvas as a way to test the components of your business. Then we're going to run some experiments, emails. Just quickly go out there, get a list of target audiences. I'm going to show you that. Create a hooks and give an offer. A free validation, free diagnostic check or an audit, something that gives value back, and they can sit and understand your value proposition a little bit more, and also you can sell. Then basically start tracking the for intent. So this is all about how I want to find more of my similar ISP, but in the time that they're most engaged, or what they're often called the moments of truth, when they're most interested. So what I've done is, if I go back to one of the stuff, so we'll use an example in this. Say you've got a startup here, right? And this is a scheduling company, right? You've got a startup idea, and this is just mocked up in Gemini. I've got Gemini. I just put in, hey, I want to create a company that solves this problem, and this is the copy it came out with, and so forth. So this is a scheduling app, right? So if you're in manufacturing, and this is mocked up, you can see here some of the spelling is on it. This is mocked up just for illustration purposes. And so what you're doing here is that I've got this idea, and I don't want to spend time. I literally build this landing page in Gemini just to get a feel for how I should engage and test it. But this is basically saying stop building schedules that your floor can't actually run. Meaning that you want to actually make sure you can see that they haven't spelled things correctly, because this is generated for the video. But the idea is this: say you've got a scheduling solution that helps manufacturers schedule the right people, time, resources, inputs or supplies in order to produce an output. That could be a food manufacturing, right? You've got all these ingredients, your production line, you've got different production lines, so you want to schedule those in. It's not about the idea, it's about the process, the operating system. And so how do you do it? So the first thing you need to do, and if you go back to that framework I'm talking about, this cycle, is understanding specific what you're trying to solve and who for. So I built this spreadsheet. Now I'm going to convert this spreadsheet into an app which you can use today and automate this. This is where the AI component comes in. So what I'm saying here is, what's a working model? Don't be too hung up on the name of your working model, because it's going to change. Because if you start thinking that way, that this is, I'm trying to learn as much as possible, I might pivot and see new opportunities that are much more valuable, instead of having an assumption that this is what the market wants, this is what my ideal customer profile or segment wants. Then you define who you're really, all this is just your first assumption of what you think the product is, who you're targeting, the segment, the core problem you're trying to solve. the current workarounds. How do you this again? This is an assumption. I think this is what they use today. They use whiteboards, Excels and old processes to actually manage schedules. Who are the prime use cases for this today? What is my unique valuable? Do I believe is the solution that is unique about this, and makes you really structure and articulate how you think about your idea. And then what would I need to test for? What would be the scope of my minimal? What element of my product value proposition that I want to test? And so this just lays out in detail. Again, I've created you will see later we will create this. But the idea is to say step one is really understand your minimal viable product brief. Understand what are you going to test, who you're going to test for, and what are the outcomes you want to learn. Okay? So, and once you do that, you can actually, you've got step 2, step 5. Here's a list of potential company ISPs I can target. Here's their names. Here's the schedule, by the way. Like this is, and you can use Apollo. You can use Clay. Just buy credits. $100 credits that you can use to do your outreach. Because what you want to do, you want to quickly go to step 2 when you have your list of ideal customer profiles, and this is where you want to test. Use this list. Use 50. All you need is about 25, 50, just test it quickly because maybe let's go 100 because you want to get by the time people reply and you get that call back and all that stuff, you might churn down to just 1 or 2, but that's enough for you to actually start learning and engaging that segment. By the way, the more you engage, the more you learn, the more likely you have those customer base ready for you to buy to launch into your product or purchase your product. So once you have a brief, understanding your minimal viable product and what you want to test, your target audience, you create your target list. And do a subset cohort, all right? Do a subset. So this one I'm going to use this comm strategy, and this comes with the comm strategy. How you're going to test it? And we're going to automate this, but basically you're saying, okay, these are my 3 strategies, and I'm going to give you a solution that can actually automate this for you. And I said this a couple of times, but I really want to hone in because this took a while to actually develop. But then I said, how can I actually automate this? So here, these are my strategies. I'm going to go with like schedule. This is how I'm going to engage. I'm going to do a diagnostic check, like a sanity check, or am I leading with a insight, offer them a sort of insight that they would never consider because interesting. I'll love to speak to you about that, or go more like a hand-picked pilot invite. So hey, I created a startup, i.e. Not this one. We're going to code this, right? You can show them a mock-up. You can create a landing page, or what it's often called a smoke screen. And say, hey, would you be interested in partnering with me for a pilot, and you're getting grandfather pricing for the 5 years or something, some deal that gives you why you want to do that. You want to learn as much as possible during this process because you don't want to process. You don't want to. You want your customer, your discovery of your customer to lead your product roadmap. Okay, and then the final thing is, well, can I actually continue finding those ideal customer profiles? Here's my list, right? But how do I know of this list here of all these target ISP? How do I know who are most going to be engaged, who have a high intent, who has a higher pain point? And this is what you can do for the scheduling thing. And again, we've got an app for this, so we can automate this. Is that if you're targeting a particular vertical and you're targeting this particular archetype, this is the pain point you believe to be true. These are some of the triggers you can use. You can actually set up, for example, in LinkedIn, you're going to say any posts that have mentioned these keywords, set them up. Look, what about job ads? You might discover that a company is actually hiring a lot of, or hiring a project scheduler or a supply chain planner. These are great intent signals that you can set up for free to track those. There's Google Ads, Google Alerts you can set up. Where is this? This was generated for me, just saying, well, how could I track this segment? So I can actually find those companies in those ideal customer profiles that are more like high intent. Here we go. Google intent, Google Alerts. Set up Google Alerts. This is so when they publish something about, hey, they're doing an audit or they acquired a new product line. If they acquired a new product line, That means they're going to demand for scheduling is going to be important. So that's the best time to go and engage. Okay, does all make sense? So that's sort of the free process, but we can use go back to this is the process, right? Define your value proposition, know what you want to test, list those assumptions you want to go validate, run those outreaches, and then track the intent so to enrich that, continue to refine. And when do you stop? When you know there's a product market fit, when you know there's a problem solution fit, because when you have a problem solution fit, then you get market product fit. Okay, so let's run over an example. Okay, and I've built an app that you can use. And also I've got a program which I'll talk about very soon, but there's two apps I've got to show you. One is about generating on the fly a lot of high quality images. This other one is around creating this whole validation test that I just talked about. So we've got to do one live. And I thought to be interesting is if I go to one of the I don't know, you subscribe to this newsletter and the rundown, it's brilliant. I always read it as a high from our click-through rate. This article, this newsletter, I read a lot. But I said, let's just use the tools that if I was any of these, okay, let's just go this company here, thoughtfully, okay. Say I'm a founder. This is a landing page, and I'm going to click onto this. Okay, cool. It's I'm going to accept this for now because I'll get ads, retargeting, I'm sure. Okay, I'm a founder of this, and I just mocked up this website. It's a smoke screen. There's nothing behind it really. Okay, so how do I actually test just the value proposition? That's the first thing, right? So let's just use the app that I created, and you can see here. I'm gonna just copy this. I'm gonna copy the URL. Go back to this app. I created one before for another thing. So let's test. Actually, what I can do, this is comment. So what I'm gonna do is use. No. Wait. Not possible with no. What am I doing? Get out of here. 1 second. Right now, what I'm gonna say, I'll say news. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna move myself here. News. This app, right? News. Go back here. News. News. My app here to here, which is and complete the form based on this company. Okay, I love doing this because it just extracts it. So I want to go. It's going to go back to that form, which is this. So you can see this. Okay, watch this. This is cool. I love comment, perplexity comment. It really does a great job of this is what it's doing. See, it's read that screen. It's going to create a new test. So, and why I want to show this by going hands-free, and I can talk to you about what this is about. So the first thing is creating, remember I talked to you about minimal viable product brief. You want to create a simplified brief based on what you believe to be your value proposition. And so this is important because you want to articulate in your mind what is it that you really want to learn, or i.e. what you really want to test. And so in this example for thoughtfully, I think it was thoughtfully, okay, that's a product name, okay. Let's see, the core problem is trying to solve, and you can read that before, it's like an audio voices, okay. Business struggling with cost of efficiency and managing inbound and outbound calls. That's true, that's the product, and it's got a sort of an AI voice for personality, right, for agents. So let's see, inquire outbound scheduling. So this is the primary nucleus for outbound. So you can call. It's extract. This is all from the website. This is all from the value proposition, right? So what is the core promise of this? Okay, to deploy AI call center agents for just 5 cents per minute. So that's the promise it's providing, right? 5 times return, 15 times return on investment. This is all, like I said, from that website. And so the value proposition, integrating seamlessly, creating automatic workflows. You can see here, I don't want to interfere with the extraction. It's going to put your website. It's going to say, okay, who should I target as a prime? Again, when you're saying the primary target, this is a version 1 of your assumption. You're assuming you want to target a specific segment. But we can, in this case, I want to target those companies that are SaaS because they're young companies. And let's see what's going to recommend in terms of of the company size. You can leave it as that's if you're a young company, but I think you should go down a little bit more. Maybe let's see what it recommends. I would imagine mid-market, or enterprise. A mid-market, yeah. See, that's what I would pick. Mid-market. Let's see who's going to what kind of archetype, because that's the archetype. Again, remember heads of sales, heads of customer service. Perfect. This is what I'm looking for. Pretty cool. This is, by the way, it's a comment. Okay. I'm not promoting this. I'm just saying we're using comment to extract so I can talk about this live with you. And just say the key KPI there is 5, and the window, I want a 90-day experiment to test my assumptions around that. Now it's going to generate those assumptions for you, or areas that I should test of the business model. And you can see up there at the top right there, dashboard, and you've got active experiments. These are active experiments I'm running against. So you can have multiple experiments here. There we go. It's got the brief. It's got the ISP, including others related to that, right? And I can now, from here, I can take control, I guess, because I don't need to. From here, I can actually, you can see here that this is the value proposition, and on the side, so you can show who am I testing, what you can change the 90 days. Remember, I'm trying to replicate this just as an experiment, so I can start be systematic in the way I approach my experiments. Okay, now going back quickly, because I don't want this to be a really long video. If I go back to my MP3, this is a complete. So now what I can do, I can generate a comms. Watch this. I can generate for this experiment 5%, 5 cents per minute. I want to get at least 15 agreeing to a pilot with me. Okay, this is my pilot. This is my outreach. This is my hook. This is my subject lines. This is basically replicating this comms strategy. Instead of doing this manually, now I've got it right here. I can copy this. This is the email. This is the call script that I can use to test quickly. All right. So now, now I've got that. When I love this, I want to actually create alerts around this segment, because the first few is I'm going to generate alerts. So now it's going to generate intent alerts, so I can actually track these. Go back here. Where is it? There we go. So now for this segment, for this this vertical, okay, this is the title. I'm going to start tracking. These are the things I can track. Set up Google Alerts, monitor in LinkedIn, scrape, Indeed. Beautiful idea. So this is generated for this specific company, for this specific test I want to run of a validation, right? I want to get this gold. And I can, the message, you can see it there, right? The core message is the entry, offer, what basically, and what kind of channels I'm going to use. Now I can export this, can share it to my team. But what I'm going to do one step further is I want to start tracking this. Okay, so now it's created the trackings and added to my you see there, it became 3. So now if I go here, I can track that. I can actually start adding results, saving that every time, copying that, cloning that. So you know what, I'm going to actually go in this one version here. I'm just going to do a LinkedIn, sorry, where is it? LinkedIn, okay? I'm going to save this, and I can write my results saying that I outreached 10 and 5 came back to me, right? So, this is the decision is to proceed with a much more paid LinkedIn engagement, right? So I can now validate that because I did my own personal networks. And so, you know what, I'm going to do outreaches more often, but based on this segment. So I'm going to save this. This is the segment I'm chasing. The heads off, okay? So, and then this is my success criteria. Or here, I can continue to replicate and to continue to track that. So there you go. What we've gone through is you got your strategy, you got your brief, you got comm strategy, you got your intent triggers, all available in this app that you can generate. So now I go back to the dashboard. If I refresh, or there we go. That's the one that is created. There's another app. I don't want to make it too long. But if I go back to this website, right, and I copy that URL, what if I want to create ads? I have to. So let's put in the landing page. Let's put in the heads of customer success. Okay, I'm going to leave the rest, okay? Because, okay, let's just say if we go back to here, if I go back to the view and analysis, I'm going to go here, okay? This is for pilot. I'm going to put that into my ad creator studio. The rest I'm going to leave and I'll let it generate. I want to create ads on the fly for this as well. So that could be a new experiment. You know how I actually, if I go back here, I can, if I go back to this, my test experiments, okay, I can create a clone of this, which I did, right? So I cloned it, edit this, and say I want to do a LinkedIn ads, okay? And actually I want to do, I can do organic, you know, so let's just say, so save that. So that's my, where's my, channel ads, okay? That's my, clone this again. I'm gonna make this one my LinkedIn. So you can test organic, for example. So organic ads, save this. So this is going to be my organic, and this could be, I'll just edit this back as my test paid. Okay, so I can compare that, which one works for. This is my paid, and this is my organic. As an example, I'm just quickly running these experiments to learn, to validate if I can get those pilots. Now, if I go back to that ad creator studio, there we go. It's, you know, it's captured the theme of the company. You can see these ads I can just export and then start running these ads, and I can go back to it. You can see how it created different versions of these ads based on if you can look at here, the call to action is the pilot that I'm trying to do. But how much did I do? I just copy and paste the URL, added some excuse me, added some basic information to create these ads, and now I can run them. Okay guys, that was a long video, but if you want more of this information, I'm running my pilot myself on the pilot. For $49, you can actually access the app. So you get the app that can create those tests. You can access the AI ad creator. I can also find, using my own credits on Clay and so forth, personal credits, a validated list of ISPs for you to test immediately. That could be a call, and you can use the B2B minimal viable lab to generate those outreaches for you, including you saw this, right? Go back here, go back dashboard, go back to the analysis. You can have the call strip, you can have the email, the call strip already, and then you've got your list, 100 people, 100 list of who you target straight away before you do anything, before you invest in anything. That's what I'm actually launching myself. So that you get this, you get 45-minute conversation with me, book in, and once you book this in, buy this, you'll get an email saying that can you book in time with me. And like I said, you get that target. I don't know why it's twice there. That's how good it is. I probably need to edit that out. Anyway, guys, that's my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. There's some value add where you can pause these videos to look at the brief and so forth, the pilot strategy, and also the intent, the login. But you can also create your own application. You can use my B2B MPB lab to generate those in a fly, including the comm strategy, including the test, and including the actual tracking, and you get this unlimited access to the instant ad creator. Anyway, I'm just trying to add value, but also this costs money in terms of validating, using credits and so forth. So including even the lab, right? This lab I host myself. You can naturally know that it uses AI to generate the outcomes, and so these costs. So I want to cover my costs, but I want to give back as much as possible. All right, guys, if you like this video, please subscribe, like it, add a comment. Thank you.